Commander Tejo stood up from his chair, his face showing doubt and anger. "I do not believe you," he declared. "These stories about predicting behavior and controlling entire civilizations, they sound like fantasy tales to make us afraid." "Captain," Yunbi nodded calmly. "I expected you would say that. Tejo, you are a scientist. You need proof before you believe anything. That is one of your strongest qualities, and also one of your most predictable traits." "Stop doing that," Tejo snapped. "Stop pretending you know how I think." "I am not pretending," Yunbi replied. "But you are right to ask for proof. Du Hyun, please contact Jae Sung at Monitoring Station 7. Du Hyun pressed some buttons on his control panel. A new voice came through the communication system, another human male who sounded young and cheerful. "Hello, Captain. How can I help you?" "Jae Sung, we have some guests who would like a demonstration of human predictive abilities. Please run a full analysis on Commander Tejo of the Galactic Council exploration vessel Harmony's Edge." "Right. Away, Captain. Give me a few minutes to review the data." While they waited, the alien crew stood in uncomfortable silence. Tejo felt nervous, but he tried not to show it. He told himself that humans could not really read his mind or predict his actions. After 5 minutes, Jae Sung's voice returned. "Analysis complete. Should I share it with everyone?" "Please do," Yunbi said. "Commander Tejo is a Veltar male, age 47 in Earth years, which equals about 32 in Veltar years. He comes from a family of explorers. His father was a star navigator, his mother was a planetary surveyor. He chose his career to honor them, but also to prove he could discover something they never found." Tejo felt his stomach drop. This information was not in any public records. He has been in command of the Harmony's Edge for 6 years. His greatest fear is that he will retire without making any important discoveries. This fear drives him to take risks that other commanders would avoid. "How do you know this?" Tejo whispered. Jae Sung continued as if he had heard the question. "Voice analysis shows stress patterns consistent with someone who feels pressure to achieve great things. His word choices indicate he values knowledge above safety. His body language suggests he is more comfortable leading than following, but he doubts his own decisions when challenged by people he respects." So-min looked at Tejo with surprise. She had known him for 3 years, but she had never realized these things about him. "Based on current stress levels and behavioral patterns, I predict Commander Tejo will attempt to secretly record this conversation within the next 2 minutes. He will then try to contact the Galactic Council using a hidden emergency transmitter. In approximately 15 minutes, he will attempt to leave the human ship within 4 hours, claiming he needs to check on his crew." "This is impossible," Tejo said, but his hand was already moving toward a small recording device hidden in his uniform. Yunbi watched his hand. "The recording device in your left pocket will not work on this ship. Our systems automatically block unauthorized transmissions." Tejo stopped reaching for the device. He felt exposed and frightened. "Please continue, Jae Sung," Yunbi said. "The commander's psychological profile indicates he responds well to intellectual challenges, but poorly to direct authority. He will be more cooperative if he believes he is solving a puzzle rather than following orders. He respects honesty above politeness. He also has a strong protective instinct toward his crew," Jae Sung added. "He will sacrifice his own safety for theirs, but he will not sacrifice their safety for his curiosity. This creates an internal conflict, his desire to explore versus his duty to protect." Vextar's crystal body turned bright orange. "How can you know all this just from watching him for a few hours?" "We have been watching his ship for 3 weeks, Byung-ho explained. Every decision he made, every conversation he had with his crew, every change in his voice or body language, all of it created a pattern." "Humans are very good at seeing patterns," Do-hyun added. "We can tell when someone is lying, scared, angry, or confused just by watching tiny changes in how they breathe, how they stand, or how they move their eyes." Jae Sung spoke again. "Would you like me to analyze the other crew members as well?" "Please analyze So-min," Yunbi requested. So-min is a former military officer who left the service after a mission went wrong. She blames herself for something. That was not her fault. She joined the exploration crew to find a new purpose, but she still thinks like a soldier. She sees threats everywhere and prepares for the worst possible outcomes. So-min stepped backward. Stop this. She will suggest tactical withdrawal in approximately 30 seconds. Jae-sung continued. She is calculating escape routes and weapons availability, even though she knows fighting would be useless. Military training is difficult to overcome. So-min looked around the room and realized she was indeed checking for exits and weapons. This is not natural, she said. No species should be able to read minds like this. We are not reading minds, Ji-hai explained. We are reading behavior. Every emotion creates physical reactions. Fear makes hearts beat faster. Anger changes breathing patterns. Lies cause tiny muscle tensions around the eyes and mouth. Humans learned to see these reactions because we needed them to survive, Yunbi added. On our home planet, humans were not the strongest or fastest creatures. We survived by being smart and by understanding other creatures better than they understood us. Do-hyun checked the time. Jae-sung predicted that Commander Tae-ho would try to contact the Galactic Council in 15 minutes. It has been 14 minutes and 30 seconds. All eyes turned to Tae-ho. He felt a strong urge to try to contact his superiors, even though he knew it would not work. He fought against the urge, but it kept growing stronger. You are fighting the impulse, Yunbi observed. That is also predictable. When people know they are being predicted, they try to do the opposite. But fighting the impulse usually makes it stronger. At exactly 15 minutes, Tae-ho found himself reaching for his emergency transmitter. He activated it before he could stop himself. Nothing happened. No signal went out. Do not feel embarrassed, Byung-ho said kindly. Free will is more complicated than most people think. Even when you know someone is predicting your behavior, you often do what they predict anyway. This is psychological torture, Juhan declared. His armor made angry clicking sounds. No, Yunbi replied. Torture is designed to cause pain and fear. This demonstration is designed to teach understanding. We want you to know what humans are capable of, not to hurt you. But why? Woo Jin asked. Why show us this if you usually keep it secret? Because you found us, Do-hyun answered. You crossed the warning line and entered human space. We cannot let you leave without making sure you understand what you have discovered. Jae-sung's voice came through the speakers again. Captain, I should mention that Commander Tae-ho will soon ask about human military capabilities. His military-trained second-in-command will make him think about whether humans could be defeated in a war. Tae-ho opened his mouth to ask exactly that question, then closed it again. The answer is no, Yunbi said, responding to the unasked question. Humans could not be defeated in a traditional war, because we would never fight a traditional war. What do you mean? So-min asked. War is about making your enemy do what you want through force, Ji-hai explained. But humans can make people do what we want without force. Why would we fight when we can simply convince our enemies that they do not want to fight us? Any species that tried to attack human space would find their weapons mysteriously malfunctioning, Byung-ho added. Their soldiers would lose motivation. Their leaders would decide that peace was more profitable than war. Their people would start asking why they were fighting in the first place. This is the terrifying truth about humans, Yunbi concluded. We do not conquer through strength. We do not rule through fear. We guide through understanding. And once you truly understand something, you can influence it in ways that seem impossible. The alien crew sat in stunned silence, finally beginning to grasp the full scope of human capabilities. Now, Yunbi said quietly, you must decide what to do with this knowledge. Commander Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Harmony's Edge, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. He had been exploring space for 20 years, but this mission felt different. They were heading to the edge of known space where no ship had gone before. The ship carried a crew of 12 beings from different planets. Each alien looked different from the others. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like living crystals. They all worked together to explore new worlds and make maps of space. Commander, called Vextar, the ship's navigator. She looked like a tall crystal that could change colors when she talked. I am getting a strange signal on our screens. Tae-ho walked over to her station. What kind of signal? It seems to be a warning beacon. It is sending messages in 17 different languages. Vextar's crystal body turned red, which meant she was worried. All the messages say the same thing. She played the message on the main screen. Words appeared in different alien languages, but the computer translated them all. Danger, human. Space, do not enter, quarantine zone. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stopped their work to look at the message. Most aliens in the galaxy had heard stories about humans, but no one knew if they were real or just myths. So Min, the second in command, walked up to Tae-ho. She was a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. She used to be a soldier before becoming an explorer. "Sir, maybe we should turn around. This warning seems serious." Tae-ho shook his head. "We are explorers. Our job is to find new things and learn about them. We cannot stop just because of a warning." "But Commander," said Wu Jin, the ship's expert on alien cultures. He had green fur and big eyes that could see many colors. "I have heard strange stories about humans in the outer colonies. The stories say they can fight for days without sleep. They say humans turned their home planet into a giant fortress." Other crew members started talking at once. Some wanted to go back, while others wanted to keep going. Tae-ho listened to all of them, but he had already made up his mind. "The stories about humans might not be true," Tae-ho said. "Maybe they are just tales that scared aliens tell each other. We are scientists. We need facts, not stories." Vexitar changed colors again, this time to yellow, which meant she was confused. "Sir, the beacon is very advanced. It knows exactly which languages to use for our crew. How could it know that? Maybe humans are real, and maybe they are not." Tae-ho replied. "But we will never know unless we look for ourselves. Set course into the warning zone." The crew looked at each other with worry, but they followed orders. The ship moved forward into space that no alien had ever explored before. As they flew, deeper into the warned area, their long-range sensors started picking up new information. The space around them looked empty, but their computers showed energy readings that did not make sense. "Commander," called Juhan, the weapons officer. He had thick armor covering his whole body. "I am reading strange energy patterns ahead of us. They move too fast to be natural." Before Tae-ho could answer, their communications officer started making loud clicking sounds. This meant she was very excited or scared. "What is it, Haewon?" Tae-ho asked. "Sir, there is a ship coming toward us. It is moving at speeds that should tear any ship apart. But it is not breaking apart. It is slowing down now." Everyone on the bridge looked at the main screen. A ship appeared that looked different from any they had ever seen. It was not very big, but it seemed to be made of materials they did not recognize. The ship moved with perfect control, even at high speed. "Is it a human ship?" Somin asked quietly. "I do not know," Tae-ho replied, "but we are about to find out." The alien ship was much bigger than the human one, but somehow the smaller ship did not seem weak. It moved like a hunter that was not afraid of anything. "They are sending us a message," Haewon announced. "Put it on the main screen," Tae-ho ordered. The viewing screen changed to show the inside of the other ship. A being that looked almost like some aliens sat in the captain's chair, but there were small differences. The being had no fur, scales, or crystal parts. Its skin was smooth and came in a color that was not common among known species. "Greetings," the being said. "I am Captain Yunbi of the human ship Swift Current. You have entered human space. This area is restricted for your safety and ours." The bridge became silent again. Humans were real, and they were right in front of them. Captain Yunbi continued talking. "We detected your ship as soon as you crossed the warning line. We know you are explorers from the Galactic Council. We also know you ignored the warning, beacons." Tae-ho stepped forward. "I am Commander Tae-ho. We are on a peaceful mission to explore and map new space. We mean no harm to you or your people." "I believe you," Yunbi replied with a smile that did not seem completely friendly. "But you do not understand what you have found here. Human space is kept separate from the rest of the galaxy for good reasons." "What reasons?" Somin asked. Yunbi looked directly at her, even though So-min had not introduced herself. You are So-min, former military, now second in command. You are worried because your training tells you this situation is dangerous. You are right to be worried, but not for the reasons you think. So-min stepped back in surprise. How do you know who I am? We know many things, Yunbi said calmly. We have been watching your ship since you left your home base 3 weeks ago. We know your mission, your crew, and your personal histories. We know Commander Taeho likes to take risks when he thinks the reward is worth it. We know Vextar is afraid of confined spaces. We know Wu Jin collects stories from different cultures. The alien crew looked at each other with fear. How could the humans know so much about them? You have been spying on us, Taeho demanded. We have been protecting you, Yunbi replied. Just as we protect everyone in this galaxy. The warning beacons are not meant to keep you away from us. They are meant to keep you safe from what we have become. What do you mean? Wu Jin asked. Yunbi stood up from her chair. Would you like to come aboard our ship? I think it is time you learned why no alien dares to chart human space. But I must warn you, once you know the truth, your lives will never be the same. Taeho looked at his crew. Half of them were shaking their heads, telling him not to go. The other half looked curious but scared. We accept your invitation. Taeho, said. Yunbi smiled again, but this time her smile looked sad. I was hoping you would say that. Prepare for transport. And Commander, leave your weapons on your ship. Where you are going, they would not help you anyway. As the transport beam took them away from their ship, Taeho wondered if he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. But it was too late to change his mind now. They were about to learn the terrifying truth about humanity. The transport beam placed Taeho and his crew inside the human ship. The first thing they noticed was how clean everything looked. The walls were smooth and white, with soft lights that did not hurt their eyes. The air smelled fresh and felt comfortable to breathe. Captain Yunbi waited for them in a large room. 2 other humans stood beside her. One was a young male with short black hair, and the other was an older male with kind eyes. Welcome aboard the Swift Current, Yunbi said. These are my crew members. Do-hyun is our navigator and Byung-ho is our chief engineer. Taeho noticed that all 3 humans seemed very calm. They did not act like people who had just met aliens for the first time. They acted like this happened every day. You do not seem surprised to see us, So-min observed. We are not, Do-hyun replied. We have been studying your species for many years. We know how you think, how you move, and how you react to new situations. Vextar's crystal body turned orange, which meant she was confused and frightened. How long have you been studying us? About 200 years, Byung-ho answered casually. We started watching the galaxy when we first heard alien radio signals from space. Wu Jin's eyes grew wide. 200 years? But that means you have been watching us since before we knew you existed. That is correct, Yunbi said. When humanity first detected alien communications, we made a choice. Instead of announcing ourselves to the galaxy, we decided to learn everything we could about every species first. The alien crew looked at each other with growing fear. They were starting to understand that first contact was not what they had expected. Why did you hide from us? Taeho asked. Because we learned early that humans are different from other species in ways that could be dangerous, Yunbi explained. Come, let me show you. She led them to another room filled with screens and computers. Do-hyun sat at one of the computers and began typing. When your ship first appeared on our sensors, Do-hyun began analyzing everything about you, Yunbi said. Do-hyun, please tell our guests what you learned. Do-hyun looked up from his computer. Your ship is made from metal mined on the planet Keth 7. The design comes from the Veltar shipyards. Your weapons are powered by crystals from the moonless worlds. Your crew has 12 members from 8 different species. He paused and looked directly at Vextar. Your species, the Crystoni, are afraid of small spaces because you evolved in huge underground caves. You feel safe when you can see exits in all directions. Vextar stepped backward. How could you know that? Your body language tells us. Do-hyun replied. The way you position yourself near doorways, how your colors change when you are in corners, the frequency of your voice when you feel trapped. Humans are very good at reading these signs. Byung-ho walked to another computer. We also know your ship's exact speed, weight, and power levels just from watching how it moves through space. We know you have enough fuel for 6 more days of travel. We know your shields are at 93% power. That is impossible, Juhan said. His armor made clicking sounds when he was angry. Our sensors are military grade and encrypted. You do not need to break encryption when you understand physics and psychology, Yunbi said with a smile. Every ship leaves traces in space. Every crew makes decisions based on their training and fears. Humans have learned to read these traces like a book. She walked to a large screen on the wall. But the most important thing we learned is this. We can predict what you will do next. The screen showed a timeline with different events marked on it. Taeho recognized some of the events as things that had already happened during their conversation. According to our calculations, Yunbi continued, Commander Taeho will ask us about our military strength in exactly 30 seconds. So-min will suggest returning to their ship in 2 minutes. Woojin will ask about human culture in 4 minutes. The alien crew stood in shocked silence. They watched the timer count down. When it reached 30 seconds, Taeho opened his mouth to speak, then stopped. He realized he had been about to ask exactly what Yunbi predicted. This is impossible, he whispered. It is not magic, Do-hyun explained. It is science. Humans study patterns in behavior. Every species has patterns. Every individual has patterns. Once you understand the patterns, you can predict what comes next. So-min looked at the timer. It showed 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining until her predicted action. She felt a strong urge to suggest returning to their ship, but she fought against it. You are trying not to do what we predicted, Yunbi observed. That is also a predictable reaction. Humans call it rebellion behavior. It usually happens when someone realizes they are being predicted. The timer reached 2 minutes. Despite trying to resist, So-min found herself saying, Perhaps we should return to our ship and report what we have learned. The room fell silent. Every alien crew member stared at So-min, who looked as shocked as they felt. Do not feel bad, Byung-ho said kindly. Your reaction was normal. Fighting against predictions usually makes them come true anyway. Woojin was watching his timer. With 10 seconds left, he tried to ask about human technology instead of culture, but the words that came out of his mouth were, What is human culture like? Now you begin to understand why we stay hidden, Yunbi said. Humans do not just predict behavior. We can influence it. We can make people want to do things without them knowing we are doing it. That is mind control, Taeho accused. No, Yunbi replied. Mind control would force you to do something against your will. This is different. We help people make choices that they already want to make deep down. We just make those choices seem more appealing at the right time. She gestured to the screens around them. Every species has psychological weaknesses and strengths. Kristoni trust people more when they feel safe. Veltar make better decisions when they are slightly hungry. Korthans become more cooperative when they hear certain sound frequencies. You manipulate entire species? So-min asked in horror. We guide them, Yunbi corrected. There is a difference. A parent guides a child away from danger. A teacher guides a student toward knowledge. Humans guide other species toward peace and prosperity. Vexitar's body turned deep red. But you do it without asking permission. Would you give permission if we asked? Do-hyun challenged. Would any species willingly let another species influence their decisions? The alien crew had no answer for that question. This is why we maintain the buffer zone, Yunbi continued. This is why no alien dares to chart human space. Not because we are violent or dangerous in the way you understand danger. We are dangerous because we understand you better than you understand yourselves. Byung-ho brought up another screen. In the past 200 years, how many galaxy-wide wars have there been? None, Woojin answered automatically. How many species have developed weapons that could destroy entire star systems? None that we know of. How many times has a single species tried to conquer the entire galaxy? Never. Yunbi smiled sadly. And you think this happened by accident? You think it is natural for hundreds of different species to live in peace across thousands of worlds? The terrible understanding began to dawn on the alien crew. The peaceful galaxy they had always known was not natural at all. You have been controlling everyone, Tejo said quietly. We have been protecting everyone, Yunbi replied, including yourselves. The question now is, what do we do with you? Captain Yunbi led the alien crew deeper into the human ship. As they walked through the corridors, Tejo noticed something strange. The walls seemed to change color slightly as different crew members passed by them. When Vextar walked near a wall, it became more transparent, showing the space beyond. When Juhan passed by, the walls became thicker and more solid-looking. Your ship is reading us, Somin observed. The ship is making you comfortable, Yunbi explained. Each species feels safe in different environments. Cristoni like open spaces, Korthans prefer enclosed areas, Veltar need to see potential escape routes. The ship adjusts automatically. They entered a large room with comfortable chairs arranged in a circle. As each alien sat down, their chair changed shape to fit their body perfectly. The temperature in the room adjusted so everyone felt comfortable, even though they were all from planets with different climates. This is our learning center, Yunbi said. Here we will show you how humans became what we are today. Du-Hyun touched a wall panel, and the entire room became dark. Then stars appeared all around them. It looked like they were floating in space, watching the galaxy from far away. 250 years ago, humans lived on only one planet, a new voice said. The aliens turned to see another human woman entering the room. She was older than the others, with gray hair and wise eyes. This is Jihai, our historian, Yunbi introduced. She will tell you our story. Jihai walked to the center of the room. Around her, the stars began to move, showing the galaxy as it was long ago. When humans first detected radio signals from space, we faced a choice, Jihai began. We could announce ourselves and join galactic civilization, or we could wait and learn first. The display showed Earth looking blue and green among the stars. Our leaders were divided. Some wanted to make contact immediately. Others wanted to study alien civilizations before revealing ourselves. What made you decide to wait? Wu Jin asked. Fear, Jihai answered honestly. And wisdom. Humans had just finished a terrible war on our own planet. We had nearly destroyed ourselves with weapons that could crack continents. We knew that if we met aliens, we needed to be very careful. The display changed to show human cities in ruins, then slowly rebuilding. So we made a plan. We would spend 50 years just listening to alien communications. We would learn your languages, study your cultures, and understand how you think. Images of aliens appeared in the space around them. Cristoni, Veltar, Korthans, and dozens of other species. But 50 years became 100 years. 100 years became 200. The more we learned about other species, the more we realized how different humans were. Different how? Tejo asked. Byung-ho stepped forward. Most species in the galaxy think in long terms. Cristoni plan for thousands of years. Veltar make decisions that will affect their great-grandchildren. Korthans build things to last for centuries. Humans are different, Jihai continued. We think in short terms, but we think very fast. A human lifetime is short compared to most aliens, so we learn to adapt quickly to survive. The display showed human cities changing rapidly, technology advancing, populations growing and moving. While other species spent decades making one decision, humans made thousands of decisions, Do-Hyun explained. While other species built one perfect solution, humans tried 100 different solutions and picked the best ones. This made us very good at something other species struggle with, Yunbi added. We became experts at predicting change and adapting to it. The space around them filled with mathematical equations and graphs. Most of the aliens could not understand them, but they looked very complex. We call it scenario planning, Jihai said. For every situation, humans imagine dozens of possible outcomes. Then we prepare for all of them. When something happens, we already know how to respond. Vextar's body turned yellow. But how does that help you control other species? We do not control, Yunbi corrected gently. We influence. And we do it by understanding something that most species ignore, psychology. The display changed to show alien minds as complex patterns of light and color. Every species has psychological patterns, things that make them happy, sad, afraid, or confident. Humans studied these patterns for 2 centuries. We learned that Cristoni become more cooperative when they feel safe and have room to move, Du-hyun explained. So human agents made sure Cristoni colonies were built in open areas with multiple exits. We learned that Veltar make better decisions when they are well fed but not too comfortable, Byung-ho added. So human traders made sure Veltar markets always had good food, but never too much luxury. We learned that Korthans work harder when they think they are competing with others, Ji-hai said. So human advisors helped organize competitions that made Korthans feel proud of their achievements. So-min stood up suddenly. You have been manipulating entire civilizations for centuries. We have been helping them, Yunbi replied calmly. Look at the results. The display showed a timeline of galactic history. Before human influence, how often did species go to war? Woo-jin thought for a moment. The history books say there used to be wars every few years between different species. Now how often do species go to war? Almost never. Before human influence, how many species had destroyed themselves with their own weapons? Taeho realized where this was going. The history books mention several species that disappeared mysteriously. They were not mysterious disappearances, Ji-hai said sadly. They destroyed themselves. But no species has done that in the past 200 years. The display showed graphs and charts. Galactic trade is up 400%. Technological progress has accelerated. Medical advances have extended lifespans for most species. Art and culture are flourishing. You did all this? Juhan asked. We guided it, Yunbi corrected. We do not force anyone to do anything. We simply make peaceful choices seem more attractive than violent ones. We make cooperation seem more beneficial than competition. We make knowledge seem more valuable than weapons. But you do it without telling anyone, So-min protested. Would it work if we told everyone? Du-hyun asked. If humans announced that we were trying to make the galaxy more peaceful, what would happen? The aliens thought about this. Finally, Vextar answered. Some species would rebel just to prove they could not be controlled. Others would become dependent and stop making their own decisions. Some would try to use human methods to control others. Exactly, Ji-hai said. The only way to help everyone is to do it secretly. The only way to guide species toward peace is to let them think they chose peace themselves. Byung-ho brought up a new display showing human agents throughout the galaxy. There were thousands of them working as traders, advisors, scientists, and teachers. We have people in every major government, every important corporation, every scientific institute, he explained. They do not give orders or make demands. They simply provide information and suggestions that help people make better choices. This is why no alien dares to chart human space, Yunbi concluded. Not because we are violent, but because we represent something far more frightening than weapons or armies. What? Taeho asked, though he thought he already knew the answer. We represent the loss of free will, Yunbi said quietly. If other species knew that humans could predict and influence their behavior, they would panic. Some would try to fight us, which would lead to war. Others would become paralyzed, afraid to make any decision without human approval. The room became quiet as the aliens absorbed this information. So we stay hidden, Ji-hai said. We maintain the buffer zone. We let other species believe they are making their own choices while we gently guide them toward a better future. But what about us? So-min asked. Now that we know the truth, what happens to us? Yunbi looked at each of them in turn. That, my friends, is what we must decide next. Commander Taeho sat alone in his quarters, staring out a small window at the stars. The human ship had given him a room that felt exactly like his cabin back on the Harmony's edge. The same size, the same lighting, even the same comfortable temperature. He realized this was probably not a coincidence. A soft chime sounded at his door. "Come in," he called. Captain Yunbi entered, carrying 2 cups of a warm, pleasant-smelling drink. "I thought you might like some tea," she said. "It is from your home world." Taeho accepted the cup gratefully. The tea tasted exactly like the blend his mother used to make. Again, probably not a coincidence. "You have questions?" Yunbi said, sitting in a chair across from him. "Many questions," Taeho agreed. "But one question is more important than the others. Ask it." Taeho looked directly into her eyes. "Why are you really doing this? The truth, not the explanation about preventing wars and guiding species toward peace. What do humans actually want?" Yunbi was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer than before. "That is the right question to ask, and it deserves the complete truth." She stood up and walked to the window. "Would you like to see something that no alien has ever seen before?" "What?" "Earth, the human homeworld." The window changed, showing a view of space. In the distance, Taeho could see a blue and green planet that looked beautiful and peaceful. "It is lovely," he said. "Look closer," Yunbi requested. The view zoomed in and Taeho gasped. The planet was covered with structures that looked like cities, but they were enormous, far larger than any cities he had seen on other worlds. And they were not just on the surface. Massive constructions floated in the sky and others extended deep underground. "How many humans live there?" he asked. 40 billion. Taeho nearly dropped his tea. 40 billion? That is more than the total population of most star systems. Humans reproduce quickly and live efficiently, Yunbi explained. We learn to use every available space on our planet. But even with all our technology, Earth can only support so many people. You need more worlds. We need hundreds of worlds, maybe thousands. And we need them soon because our population continues to grow. Taeho felt a chill of understanding. That is the real reason for the secret guidance. You are preparing the galaxy for human expansion. Partly, Yunbi admitted, but not in the way you think. She changed the view to show other human settlements, space stations, asteroid mining operations, and small colonies on distant planets. Humans could take any worlds we wanted, she continued. Our technology is advanced enough, our population is large enough, and our strategic abilities are sophisticated enough to conquer most of the galaxy. But you chose not to. We chose a different path. We decided to create a galaxy where humans could expand peacefully, where other species would welcome us as partners rather than fear us as conquerors. The view changed again, showing mixed colonies where humans lived alongside aliens. Taeho had never seen anything like them in his exploration missions. These colonies already exist? He asked in surprise. Hundreds of them, Yunbi confirmed. Humans have been quietly settling in systems throughout the galaxy for decades, but we do it slowly, carefully, and always with the permission of local governments. Permission that you manipulate them into giving. Permission that we make attractive to give, she corrected. We offer advanced technology, medical knowledge, and economic opportunities. We help solve problems that local species cannot solve alone. We make human settlement seem beneficial rather than threatening. Taeho set down his teacup. So the peaceful galaxy you have created is not really for everyone's benefit. It is to make expansion easier for humans. It is for everyone's benefit, Yunbi insisted, including humans. Do you know what happens when a powerful species tries to expand through conquest? Wars. Rebellion. Eventually, the conquered species unite against the conquerors. Exactly. Conquest creates enemies, but cooperation creates allies. A galaxy full of human allies is stronger and safer than a galaxy full of human subjects. She brought up new images, massive construction projects, scientific research stations, and exploration fleets with mixed human and alien crews. This is our real goal, she said. Not to control the galaxy, but to help build a galactic civilization where every species can thrive, including humans. But humans would be the dominant species in this civilization. Yes, Yunbi agreed, because we are the best at understanding and coordinating different species. But dominance does not have to mean oppression. Taeho stood up and walked to the window. You are asking me to believe that humans are benevolent dictators. We are asking you to help us become something better than dictators, Yunbi replied. We want to become gardeners. Gardeners? A gardener does not control plants. A gardener provides the right conditions for plants to grow strong and healthy. A gardener removes threats and provides opportunities. A gardener helps create an environment where many different types of life can flourish together. The view outside changed to show a garden, not just any garden, but one with plants from dozens of different worlds growing together in harmony. This is what we want the galaxy to become, Yunbi said. A garden where every species can grow according to their nature, but where all species benefit from being part of a larger whole. And humans would be the gardeners. Humans would be the primary gardeners, yes, but every species would contribute something unique and valuable. Taeho thought about everything he had learned. What do you want from me? We want you to stay, Yunbi said. We want you to become our first official alien ambassador. The time is coming when humans will have to reveal themselves to the galaxy. When that happens, we will need people who understand both human capabilities and alien perspectives. What about my crew? They will be offered the same choice, but the decision must be individual. We cannot force anyone to accept this role. Taeho looked at the garden image again. If I stay, what would my job be? To help us prepare for open contact. To advise us on how different species might react to learning the truth about human influence. To help develop protocols for gradual revelation instead of sudden shock. And if I choose the memory modification instead? You would return to your ship, complete your mission, and live your life normally. You might occasionally feel curious about the warning zones, but you would never feel compelled to investigate them again. What do you predict I will choose? Yunbi smiled. I predict you will surprise me. That is one of the things I like about you, Taeho. Your curiosity is strong enough to overcome even your survival instincts. Over the next several hours, Taeho met with each of his crew members. Somin chose to stay, saying that someone needed to keep watch on human military capabilities. Vextar decided to return with modified memories, feeling that the truth was too heavy for her to carry. Wu Jin chose to stay, excited about the opportunity to study human culture from the inside. The others made similar individual choices. Some stayed, some chose to forget, and one, Juhan, initially chose the third option of death rather than compromise. But after talking with the humans for many hours, he changed his mind and decided to stay as well. In the end, 7 of the 12 crew members chose to remain as human guests and future ambassadors. As Taeho stood on the observation deck of a human monitoring station 3 days later, he watched his former ship depart. The 5 crew members who had chosen memory modification would remember an uneventful exploration mission that had found nothing interesting beyond the warning beacons. Do you regret your choice? Captain Yunbi asked, joining him at the window. I regret that there had to be a choice at all, Taeho replied. But I understand why it was necessary. What do you think of the galaxy now that you know the truth? Taeho considered this carefully. I think the galaxy has been like a child that needed protection and guidance, and I think humans have been good parents even when being good parents meant making hard choices. And when the child grows up, then parents have to learn to become advisors instead of guardians. Yunbi nodded. That day is coming sooner than we expected. More ships are testing the warning zones. More species are developing technology that could detect human agents. More governments are asking questions about the peaceful patterns in galactic history. How much time do we have? Perhaps 10 years before someone else discovers what you discovered. Perhaps 20 years before the secret becomes too large to contain. Taeho looked out at the stars, seeing them differently now. Every light represented worlds where humans and aliens lived and worked together, guided by careful planning and patient influence. The terrifying truth about human space is not that it is dangerous, he said finally. It is that it is everywhere. Yes, Yunbi agreed. Humans never dared to chart just human space because human space is all space. We have been part of the galaxy all along, hidden in plain sight. As Taeho began his new role as humanity's first official alien ambassador, He realized that his mission had succeeded beyond his wildest expectations. He had set out to map unknown space, and instead, he had discovered that there was no unknown space at all. The galaxy had never been free from human influence, but perhaps, he thought, it had never been safer. And now, as the age of secret guidance slowly came to an end, a new age was beginning. An age when humans and aliens would work together openly to build the garden. Civil So Min paced back and forth across the room, her forearms moving restlessly. "Let me understand this correctly," she said. "Humans have been secretly controlling galactic civilization for 200 years. You have agents everywhere. You can predict what anyone will do before they do it, and now you expect us to just accept this?" "We do not control," Captain Yunbi corrected patiently. "We guide. There is an important difference." "Is there?" Tai-Ho challenged. "If you can make people do what you want them to do, how is that not control?" Do-hyun stood up and walked to the center of the room. "Let me show you something that might help explain." The walls around them displayed images from across the galaxy. They saw peaceful cities, thriving colonies, and species working together on amazing projects. "In the past 50 years, how many major wars have there been between different species?" Do-hyun asked. "None," Woo-jin answered. "How many planets have been destroyed by their own inhabitants?" "None that we know of." "How many species have developed weapons capable of wiping out entire star systems?" The aliens looked at each other. "None," Vextar said quietly. "These things did not happen by accident," Do-hyun continued. "Every time a species came close to developing planet-killing weapons, human agents provided them with better alternatives. Every time tensions rose between different worlds, human diplomats helped them find peaceful solutions." Ji-hai joined. Do-hyun in the center. "We do not force people to be peaceful. We simply make peace more attractive than war." "But you do it without permission," So-min insisted. "You make these decisions for entire species without asking them what they want." "Would asking permission work?" Byung-ho challenged. "If humans announced to the galaxy that we wanted to prevent wars and guide technological development, what would happen?" Tae-ho thought about this. Some species would rebel against human guidance even if it was good for them. Others would become dependent and stop making their own decisions. And some would try to use human methods to control their enemies, Vexitar added, her crystal body turning a worried shade of red. "Exactly," Yunbi said. "The only way to help everyone is to do it secretly. The only way to guide the galaxy toward peace is to let each species think they chose peace for themselves." Juhan's armor clicked angrily. "But what about species that might have chosen differently? What about cultures that you changed without their knowledge?" "That is the hardest question," Ji-hai admitted. "Humans have prevented many tragedies, but we have also prevented some possibilities that might have been good in different ways." She brought up new images on the walls, alien technologies and cultural achievements. "We guided the Korthans away from developing certain weapons, but those same weapons might have led to breakthrough discoveries in energy production. We influenced the Cristoni to avoid expanding into certain regions of space, but those regions might have contained resources that would have made them incredibly wealthy. We make the best choices we can with the information we have," Do-hyun said. "But we know that every choice has consequences. Some of those consequences might be wrong." "Then why continue?" Woo-jin asked. "If you know you might be making mistakes, why keep secretly controlling everyone?" "Because the alternative is worse," Yunbi replied. "Before human influence, the galaxy was heading toward a massive war. 3 major species were developing weapons that could destroy entire solar systems. 2 others were planning invasions of their neighbors' territories. The walls showed historical projections, computer models of what might have happened without human intervention. The images were disturbing: dead planets, refugee fleets, and the ruins of civilizations. We estimate that without human guidance, at least 40% of all species in the galaxy would have destroyed themselves or been destroyed by others within 100 years. Byung-ho said quietly. "You cannot know that for certain," So-min protested. "No," Yunbi agreed. "We cannot. but the mathematical models all show similar outcomes, and we decided that preventing probable disasters was worth the risk of making some wrong choices. The room fell silent as the aliens absorbed this information. Finally, Vextar asked the question they were all thinking. What happens to us now that we know? That depends on what you choose, Yunbi replied. We can offer you 3 options. She gestured, and 3 doorways appeared in the walls of the room, though the aliens realized these were probably holographic projections. The first option, you can return to your ship and continue your mission. You will remember everything you learned here, but you will find that you have no desire to tell anyone else about it. You will still have free will in all other matters, but when the topic of humans comes up, you will feel that it is better to remain silent. Mind control, Taeho said flatly. Selective psychological adjustment, Do-hyun corrected. Your memories will be intact, your personalities will be unchanged, and your ability to make decisions will be unaffected except for this one topic. The second option, Yunbi continued, is to remain here as our guests. You will be treated with honor and respect. You will have comfortable quarters, interesting work, and the chance to help bridge the gap between humans and other species. But you will never be able to return to your old lives. Prison, So-min said. Voluntary exile, Ji-hai corrected. You would have important work to do and significant influence over how humans interact with the galaxy. But yes, you would be cut off from your previous connections. And the third option? Taeho asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know. Yunbi looked sad. The third option is the one we hope you will not choose. If you refuse the first 2 options, we will have no choice but to ensure that you cannot share what you have learned with anyone. The aliens understood what she meant without her having to spell it out. You would kill us, Woojin said quietly. We would have to, Byung-ho replied. The knowledge you now possess could destabilize the entire galaxy. If other species learned that humans have been secretly guiding their development, some would panic, others would rebel, and wars would start within months. This is not a choice, Juhan declared. This is coercion. Yes, Yunbi admitted. It is. We are sorry for that, but we cannot allow this information to spread uncontrolled. She walked closer to the alien crew. However, I want you to understand something important. No matter which option you choose, you have already changed the future. What do you mean? Taeho asked. Your mission was the first serious attempt to explore human space in 50 years. Do-hyun explained. The fact that you got this far means that other species are becoming more curious about the warning zones. More ships will follow. Eventually, someone will discover the truth about humans, Ji-hai added. When that happens, the galaxy will have to face a new reality. The age of secret guidance will end, and a new age of open cooperation will begin. You are preparing for that day, Vextar realized. We are, Yunbi confirmed. Humans cannot stay hidden forever. Sooner or later, we will have to reveal ourselves to the galaxy and work openly with other species. But not yet? So-min asked. Not yet. The galaxy is not ready. Too many species still think in terms of domination and submission. They would see human abilities as a threat to be destroyed, rather than a resource to be shared. Byung-ho checked his instruments. We estimate that the galaxy will be ready for open contact with humans in approximately 30 to 50 years. By then, most species will have developed stable governments, advanced technologies, and peaceful philosophies. Thanks to your secret influence, Taeho said. Thanks to their own choices, Do-hyun corrected. We only provide opportunities. Each species decides for itself whether to take advantage of those opportunities. Yunbi looked at each alien in turn. So now you must make your own choice. Return to your old lives with modified memories, begin new lives as bridges between species, or sacrifice yourselves to protect the secret that keeps the galaxy peaceful. How long do we have to decide? So-min asked. Take all the time you need, Yunbi replied. But remember, every minute you delay is another minute that your crew worries about you, and your crew will eventually try to rescue you if you do not return. The weight of the decision settled on the alien crew like a heavy blanket. They had come to explore new space and make maps. Instead, they had discovered that their entire understanding of the galaxy was wrong. "I need to think," Taeho said finally. "Of course," Yunbi replied. "We have prepared quarters for each of you. Rest, consider your options, and let us know when you are ready to decide." As the aliens were led to their temporary rooms, each of them wondered the same thing. Was there really any choice at all? Or had the humans already predicted what they would decide?